Hi everyone, welcome to The Pulse with Faye Seidler. I'm going to talk to you about the legislative session because I got the finger on the pulse. That's the reason it's named that, if you didn't know. Tonight's about bad news, but I'm going to start with some good news just to throw you for a loop. The Legislative Leadership Lab is open for registry. That is something that the Prairie Institute is putting out, I believe. I have a picture here. I'll have a link within my website for opportunities. But I just want to let you know that that is an opportunity to learn more about getting involved actively during the legislative session. It appears to be a very thorough educational teaching, not just like a single training, but actual leadership development. So that seems really cool. Follow me or follow them for more of those opportunities. I'm sure they're going to be fetch. The other thing I'll say before I get into the bad bills that I'm tracking is that I really encourage you to look at other organizations that share your common interest and goals because they will have specific bills I'm missing. There are a lot of bills around voting this session that I'm not following because I know League of Women Voters has a ton of information about that and you can follow them for that specific thing. Plenty of other organizations with specific interests or causes that you can follow, so if you have them, please do. I will try to combine all of this into like a single place so you can see what's going on across to everyone. Don't have that now, but other piece of good news is that crossover doesn't happen until February 28th, so we actually will have at least a month before any bills go over to the other chamber. That's a lot of time to talk and prepare and get ready. The first couple weeks is a blitz, but then it's like really slow for like a little bit, and then it does the whole thing again in March. I just want that to be a framing before we get into the bad bills that I am going to talk about tonight. So I have them up here. They're on my website. And the bills I have that I think are terrible, like, oh my God, what the heck? House Bill 1556, that will be heard on Monday the 27th, and it's Return Your Adopted Kid. So if you adopt a kid and you're like, nah, gross, don't want this one, you can turn them in and go shop for a better kid. I'm being facetious because of how disgusting I think this bill is. The actual purview is that 3 conditions, effectively. If the kid has a mental health issue or has sexually abused like a sibling or something like that. Obviously, in certain cases, I think would be appropriate, but it does really look like it is very far-reaching for what could constitute you not wanting your kid anymore. And if you go through the adoptive process, I think you are a parent with a commitment. And I don't like that you can be like, nah, I don't like this kid anymore. So that is a bill that I am not happy with. Not to be that alarming person, but a mental health condition, is that being trans? Just asking for people in the room. I'm just asking questions here about that. Don't know, but we'll find out tomorrow during testimony, probably. The other bill that's happening, if you are trans, no subtext here, is House Bill 1144, happening on Monday at 3:15. This is a trans bathroom and pronoun bill. This actually doesn't change a lot. It kind of clarifies a bill that happened during our last session, I think 1522, somewhere around there. And it makes it a little bit harder for trans individuals to go to the bathroom and a little bit harder to make policies about pronouns. It's very vibey language. It doesn't seem to actually do anything. It's already tough. You already can't go to the bathroom for trans people. We already see that in the data. It kind of doesn't do anything. It's a little bit less alarming than the other bill, House Bill 1181. It's still bad. It's bad not necessarily because it targets LG plus individuals, but because it's just functionally bad. Like, if you want to hurt LG plus individuals, this bill doesn't even do that. It doesn't do anything. So if you're like, yes, finally a bill to punch those trans folks because they're too powerful, it doesn't do that. I'm sorry, this bill does nothing. It sucks. So that's House Bill 1144. On Wednesday, we have a deluge of interesting bills. I don't know if deluge is the right word to say, but whatever. House Bill 1454, that's an anti-vax protection bill. There's a lot of bills like that. I don't have all of them recorded, but it's one of them. There are a lot of bills that basically say that if you've not been vaccinated, you can't be discriminated against, which is bad for public health, and that's why I'm against it. Because the thing is, as a suicide prevention advocate, why that's a risk factor is when your little sister has polio and your parents don't help that kid out and they suffer some of the lifelong consequences of that, or death from different other kinds of not being vaccinated, that's bad for your mental health. That's bad for your family's mental health. I think we have to give up a certain level of freedom for just like the tiniest little bit of freedom for an enormous amount of public safety. A lot of these bills tend to be a divide between absolute anarchy of freedom and actual protections for people across society. And there's conversations to have where we should put that bar, but some of them are like, you should let me feed paint to my kids. Like, We need, it's hard to say North Dakota, but I will be honest, we need a little bit of control, a tiny bit of protections, a little ounce in our tea of freedom, if you will, just a little dash of sugar to make sure we don't die. And that's my feelings on most of the vax bills. SB 2300 is another ban for cell phones within the school systems. This is as bad as the other ban that we are hearing. There is a third bill, I don't have it in front of me, which is actually kind of more of a moderate version, which is okay. I think we're going to pass a cell phone bill no matter what this session, so I kind of loosely support the other one. But banning cell phones ad hoc to every kid, bad move. Like, there are so many kids who need it for support, and I know that cell phones can be a distraction. I get all that information, but a blanket ban from the top level government doesn't make sense. Schools need to handle this on a school basis. We have Senate Bill 2244. This instills quite a lot of government control over how schools should operate. The reason I bring it up, though, is because it's specifically a school has to get permission from parents to talk about LGBT plus topics whatsoever. It's one part of like an 8-page bill that we heard last session and said no to, so we see it back to waste more of our time. For Thursday, we have 1411 that makes mandating extreme risk protections illegal. That is scary AF. That is terrible. That is like, this person is a danger to themselves and others. We should give them a gun. Why don't we just give them a fully automatic gun? This bill is like, let's just let people die. Like, HB 1411 is silly, very silly, irrational. The idea of that level of freedom, there's a reason we have a society. It was a pretty good benefit that we had laws and rules to protect the general people of our society. And then we have House Bill 1273. That's a total free speech bill. It's basically like a hate speech protection bill. So it's like, hey, I would like to say a lot of terrible things about a lot of different people and suffer no consequences. I think that should be okay. And that's what that bill does. This kind of follows that theme and trajectory of like absolute freedoms. There's a reason we have a society. And the compromise, the quote you might hear is, you should never give up a lot of liberty for a little bit of safety. Not that you shouldn't give up a tiny bit of liberty for a ton of safety. You got to keep on reading into that quote to understand how society works. And I feel like I need to remind people how society works. Like, it's good. I say I'm a suicide prevention advocate. I'm kind of like a bathroom advocate, not for trans people, but in general. I like plumbing. I like showers. I like everything that happens just in a bathroom. And when we move away from society, we move away from indoor plumbing. And I don't go hiking or camping because there's no like toilet out there. I like what we've done as a society. I think toilets are 10 out of 10. I love indoor plumbing. The more bills we have that eradicate any sort of safety measures or control, whether that be our vaccinations, our ability to be civilized, getting some kind of protections against people who are extremely violent and have weapons of lethal means. I think these are things that, it's important for a society to keep public health and safety and some control, just an ounce of it. So these are the terrible bills that are going to be heard next week. You can submit testimony on all of them as of tonight. Typically the deadline is going to be the day before. So the Return Your Adopted Kid bill and the Trans in Your Bathroom bill, they are both necessary tonight. Any bill you missed, you can always talk about during crossover when it goes to the other chamber. And that's when a lot of people get involved anyways. So just want to give you an idea of some of these bad bills. I'll have more work with all of the bad bills and where they're going and what we're doing when I have time. I would like to introduce a bill. Give Faye more time. 12 hours a day. Just do it. We already have daylight savings time bill. Let's do a Faye time saving bill. Like, come on. There's a lot of bills against me. Can there be one bill for me? One bill for me? Free caffeine for Faye? You still have time, senators. You still have time. I look forward to your free caffeine for Faye bill. Senator Hogan? So that's all I have tonight. I still believe in North Dakota and we still have a bright future. There's a lot of good people here and I'm gonna make sure they're the ones that have the loudest voice. And I'm pretty loud. I think I'm pretty good. Wish me luck. Yay, democracy!